and I'm going to start a new project. So here we go. And I'm going to use my microphone for the new track. And there it is. And so I'm going to record first just a track of all finger snaps that I will chop up later. So here we go. Great, got some good finger snaps in there. Next, I'm going to add another track, and I'm going to rub my hands together on this one because that makes a pretty cool sound. So I'm going to mute this first track and record a second track. Great. Now I'm going to do, let's just move over here in the same track because that one was kind of short. I'm going to clap my hands in a bunch of different ways. So I'm going to start recording from here. And I got some variety in there, and then that should help out. Okay, so your job is to take 10 individual sounds, and you could have 10 separate recordings and layer them together. We're also going for 30 seconds, which is kind of a lot of time. And so one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to start by isolating the sounds that I like and then layering them together. So if I go back to the beginning and... Okay, so I've got two kind of sounds happening here, and I am going to isolate them by cutting them out of the tape. I like that first hand sound, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to isolate that one by cutting right about there. So I click and activate that window, and then I slice, and so now I've got this isolated. And I like those sounds, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate just those sounds, and so I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to try and cut right at the very beginning of that first sound, and so I'm going to zoom in a little more so that I can really see where that sound starts, so right there, and so I'm going to cut that, and now I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, so I've got some sounds isolated here, and I'm going to now listen to my hand claps and see how that sounds. No, I turned on the loops. I did not want to do that. Move my playhead over to here. Those have some cool delay on them, like the sound dissipates. You can see it kind of fading out. And I like this one right here, I think sounds really good. So again, I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to isolate just that one sound. You can see where it starts really clearly. So I'm going to cut there. And then I'm going to go all the way to the end because there's that nice decay on the end, and I'm going to cut there. And now I've got that isolated. Okay, and now if we go to our finger snaps, so I'm going to mute this track and unmute the first track, and zoom back out and see about my finger snap sounds. What do I have here? That one is kind of the best one isolated on its own is this one right here. So I'm going to cut that one out and use that in a couple of different ways. Okay, so now I want to start kind of thinking about how I'm going to put this together and how I'm going to arrange these sounds. You could have one track just going for a really long time, like a long recording. You can do a lot of things, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a track now, so a third one, and I'm going to just layer a whole bunch of these things because I like that sound. So I'm going to copy, Command-C, and now wherever I put the playhead here, it's going to paste them. And so I'm going to brighten up my screen a little bit so that I can see the hash marks for the different beats up there. I'm going to just put this every 2 beats. So actually, I'm going to undo that a couple of times. I'm going to try and trim this so it's exactly 2 beats long. Right? And so now if I zoom in, I want to trim that edge off. And I can do that in a couple of different ways. So once I click on it, I can just drag this over. And so now it's right on that line, making it exactly the length I want it to be. And maybe I'm going to start it right on the beat. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to stretch this back out, which I can do just like that. Great. Okay. So now that's the right length. And now I'm going to copy it and paste it a bunch of times. And you can do, I could, essentially do that for all 30 seconds. I'm up to 9 seconds right there. So let's go, half of the piece would be 15. So I'll just do like a first half here. So there's about 15 seconds. So now, if I play that, I have this. And that kind of is going to form like a foundation. Now I'm going to put some of these hand claps along with it. So I need another track for that. So I'm going to add a track, right? Because anytime you want separate sounds happening, you add tracks. And I liked this clapping sound, so I'm going to bring that down here. And so what's that sound like? All right. I'm going to put that on. So I'm going to zoom in here. So I'm going to kind of make a drum beat out of these sounds. You don't have to make a drum beat, but you can if you want. So I'm going to put that right on beat 2. And I'm going to zoom in because you can see there's a little bit of space before that sound starts. And so if I click on this, I'm going to really get to the beginning there, get that right on that beat. And now, can I stretch, how far out can I stretch this? Not too far because then I get into another sound there. So let's make this just 1 beat long. So I'm going to go from 1.2 to 1.3. Now I've got too many things in a small space. All right. So now I have this. And so I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it on 4. And then I'm going to put it on 2. Yeah, sure. Let's see what we got here. Now I have this. And I can keep that going, and that can be like a little drum beat. And now if I unmute everything. Right. And one thing I might do now, which could be really cool, if this is 15 seconds long, is take all of this and copy it. And I'm going to put it at the end here. Right, so now I've got twice that, but with these, now I'm going to go to my editor, right, and I turned it off and on again. And now, if I have all of these active, I'm going to reverse them. And so let's see if that worked. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, it's working on it. It's processing. And so let's see what happened with that. There it is, backwards. All right, that sounds pretty cool. So now I'm up to, there's my 30 seconds, and now I can kind of add other sounds in here as I go. Let me close out my editor here. And so I'm well on my way, and I've got plenty of sounds happening here. I got this 1, 2, 3. I'll chop this. I can get up to 10 sounds really easily. And so I'll have, by the end of this, a nice 30-second long piece with all hand clapping. I could copy some of these finger snaps now, like I had this one, and I could bring this down here and put some of those in there, and copy that, Command C, and just drop a couple of those in random places. No, I didn't want that up there, so I got to activate the track I'm actually working on, and come down here. So let's undo those couple of mistakes. So you go away. Great. Down here, And let's put some more finger snaps in. Right, cool. And let's maybe stick one right here. So this will sound nice and weird because I'm doing it really fast. But here we go. Let's mute my original recordings, and now we get this. And then I'd add more stuff in through there, and then eventually it's going to get halfway through the piece, and it's going to go backwards. Great. So that should give you a pretty good idea of how to do this. Once you're done, you would then save. So let's pretend that I'm done. I'm not, but we'll pretend. So I'm going to save that. So I click the Save button, and now I'm going to retitle it, and I'm going to call this Project. You can do it. Project 1. Right, and my browser is getting nice and slow because I'm trying to tell it to do too many things. Terrific. And now that it is saved, I'm going to exit. And so I go to exit, and eventually this will exit. It comes back here. Great, which I just called. It should have been called Project 2, actually. Let me, well, whatever, I could change that. And when you were done, so I would change this to Project 1, but whatever, then you would hit share, and you would get a link, and you would send me the link, and I would listen to it. So that's a quick demo on how to do Project 2.